Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle DeTeach, or Coach Danny D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas, and I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danny D, and I am here always to help small business owners to play big, but I also want you to find that happy space where you are doing that thing that you love the most while also enjoying your business. For me, that's being in my pajamas, but it may be something totally different for you. So today we have a very, very special guest. We have Deanne Watts Williams. I'm gonna tell you about her accolades, but I'm gonna just start with she's a dear sister, coach, friend. So it's very special for me to have her on here today. But she has so many accolades, but she is the branding maven, and she is also just the beast with LinkedIn, which is something that for whatever reason, as business owners, we're not utilizing to the fullest of our capabilities. And, if you follow Dion, you will learn like it's not that hard and you can do it. And she's so encouraging in showing you how to be strategic and using that LinkedIn as a business owner, as an individual brand. She works with entrepreneurs as well as corporate climbers. So no matter what it is you're trying to do to advance yourself, Dion can help you with that. So Dion, I want you to, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to the space of being an entrepreneur.
Hi, Danny. How
Hey,
are you?
I'm good.
Good. You said a mouthful right there. Like, we don't like what's not familiar, you
Yes.
know. And I totally get it because learning something new can be an uphill battle. But yes, I love LinkedIn. Where do I start? I really stumbled upon like entrepreneurship. I was always just heavy into writing, probably because as a kid, I did not want to. I'm like, you want me to stand up and read or talk in front of people? So just gravitating to written speech that was always my thing, whether it was journaling or helping a sibling with the paper. I can say that now because we're all adults. Or I mean, in college
Hey,
that was the hustle. I
hey.
listen. I said, "Oh, you want me to do that? I can do it with my eyes closed." Okay.
Right. Look, you
Yeah,
got a
it's
skill.
yes. But my journey to entrepreneurship really started with me just doing things for family and friends here and there. And they would, tell their people. And it started by just writing like press releases, bios. Oh, then can you brush up my resume? And then that's how I really expanded into, consulting. Still working a 9 to 5. I still do work a 9 to 5, but it wasn't that not the same employer, but working a 9 to 5 and consulting, I was like, okay, I found my dream job. I was wrong because we're taught to go to school, follow the salary, and that's it. It was a really just toxic, it was just not a good match on so many levels with the microaggressions and gaslighting, the needle, you know how it is. The needle's always
Look,
moving for
I'm sitting
us.
here like, well, did you read my autobiography before you got out here? Like,
Right. Yeah, and it was such a devastating thing to get laid off when you're like 5 or 6 months pregnant from your dream job. And I'm like, wait,
wow.
I did all the things, and you're telling me, oh, I'm just a number. Okay, I don't
Right,
really matter
right,
here.
right.
Yeah. And like you just said, that was your story too. And what I found is I started connecting with women who had similar experiences. And I was like, oh, it's not just me. Like this is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of doubled down on the consulting because I was like, I don't want anyone to experience that feeling of just being like used and not seen, not heard. And it, my business really just took off from there. But I really did stumble upon it, and then just a series of life experiences in corporate America, just led me to where I am today. But LinkedIn is, I do things, I do all things personal branding, but LinkedIn is the number one tool, hands down, that I've helped my clients with because it does all the things. So that is the short version of my story. There's a lot of other details I can go into, but yeah, that it's been I've been consulting since '07.
Okay.
So for a while, and then 2018, I said, all right, I need to. It was more of a hobby until then, right? I was like, I need to kind of make this legit, and
Yeah.
I wanted to just grow from there.
It's amazing, and I'm so glad that you decided to move in that direction, because I do agree with you. There's so many women out there that are experiencing that same thing, because we take what we do personally,
Mm-hmm.
and we treat it as if if we nurture this thing, it's going to take us to all of these places. But what I've found is, in a lot of instances in corporate America, it's an abusive relationship. It's a
Oh,
one-sided
absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of mind games that are keeping people stuck from really seeing their value. Because if they wouldn't have hired you if they didn't see your value.
I literally just told someone that this morning. Like
Like,
you would
I
not be
mean,
in that job if they thought you couldn't do the job.
right.
So
It's like
why?
you
Yeah.
have value all the way up until the point that you ask for a raise or a promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Then
And then
all
we
of a sudden,
internalize.
it's like, what, huh? Well, who? Oh, no, no, you need to jump through these 12 more hoops. But look, let me give these other major projects that no one else can handle to you at the same time.
Oh, child. I've had a supervisor tell me, well, the reason I give you more work is because I know you're dependable. It's like, mm,
Uh-huh.
so
Well,
you
you
gave
know
me
what? I'm
more work,
dependable with money too.
right? So, and that's not to say that taking on more assignments and more work doesn't like play its part. What I found is I was being treated like a workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the reward for doing good work or more work is more work.
Right.
you know?
Right. And I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of people, where you're the workhorse, but other people are getting promoted around you
Yep. Yep.
because they don't want to lose that workhorse. And then in some instances, I know this is not our topic, but I mean, when the Lord speaks, the Lord speaks. In some instances, you're behind the scenes coaching and prepping the person who gets because they
Wow.
don't know. And so they're coming to you to be like, well, how do I go about,
Mm-hmm.
like, biggest slap in the face? And so
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're here and of service to people to help them find that voice so that they can have that confidence, so that they can, not start to have the psychological effects of that you can get sometimes in these situations where you're getting this mixed messaging that, oh, well, you're not good enough for this next position. And sometimes, you may not even be appearing good enough because you're not putting that right information out there to position yourself.
And that was it. It's like, I hate the phrase that like, oh, your work is going to speak for itself. And it's like, no, it's not. You have to
Mm-mm.
actually find your voice and have that confidence because, you know, just like anything, any other area of life, like someone's going to take that and use it and abuse it. And you're going to be left completely burned out, overworked, underpaid, you know?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I have a good
that's
friend
not,
whenever she's on Zoom and she has something meaningful to say she gets her mic like this. Give your voice a microphone, because no, the work is not going to speak
Oh,
for itself. It's just speaking. It's quiet in the
mhm,
background. You need to amplify it. So
right.
how do we go about amplifying our voice using LinkedIn?
Oh my goodness. I could talk all day about LinkedIn. I think
We ain't going nowhere.
how do we amplify our voice? It's first of all, you can't just, from a very practical standpoint, I talk to people every day who are just like, I don't know my login. I'm like, well, you got to be active.
That's step one.
Step one, be active. Yes, optimize your profile. That's a piece of the puzzle, but okay, once you've, put the open sign up and you've decorated your storefront, you have to like put something on the shelves. You have to engage the customers or people coming into your store. So, the other thing I say is that, if your LinkedIn profile is like all tumbleweeds, like if you're not engaging in conversations, if you're not sharing content, that doesn't, that's not going to get anyone's interest. That's not going to get anyone's attention. So you have to actually get in the game. But I understand that it can be overwhelming. So I usually start with just the profile. Like let's get your store up and running, your storefront. You know.
Okay, so let's go to those baby steps. Like what,
Mhm.
how I'm walking up, I have a login, I'm about to hit forgot password so I can get in.
Reset
once
your
once
password.
they send me that link, what's next? What do I do next?
Oh my goodness, you need to optimize your profile. It's very hard to, because what's going to happen is if you skip over that step and try to jump into conversations, and not that that's like detrimental, but people are going to organically want to come check you out. And so if there's tumbleweeds all over your profile, if you don't have and I'm probably going out of order, let me know if I'm jumping ahead. But
No,
like if you don't,
you know where we're going. You driving the train. You are the queen of LinkedIn. You take us on the journey.
yeah, I mean there are a lot of profile features, right? But here are like my favorite ones, and the ones I think are most effective is your header graphic and your profile photo. A lot of people, you had that little silhouette with your LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
profile. Like, and I get we don't want to put ourselves out there, but people like to connect with people. So it's very easy for people to put a face with the name. So I always say get that high quality image, use that headshot, preferably a professional headshot. I mean, a selfie isn't terrible, but just make sure it doesn't look like a selfie. Like get a phone holder, stand, something,
Like
and
this
have
is the part where I'm gonna interject, because as professionals, sometimes we don't want to tell it all the way like it is. So I'm gonna tell it for you so you don't have to say it. Get that headshot. Like she being nice,
get the
because
headshot. Yeah,
everybody may not, whatever. There's somebody who's offering mini headshot sessions for
for fifty
$50 or
bucks.
less.
Mm-hmm.
Go get the headshot. It
Right.
looks like a selfie. We don't want to just say it to you. We don't want to hurt your feelings, but we could see the toilet in the background. It looks like a selfie.
Oh
Nobody,
no no.
nobody,
We don't want to see the
people
ceiling shot,
taking,
like the angles. That's not the time for
no, this
angles.
is not that moment. And,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hijack the conversation, but
No, tell them like it is.
y'all, when it comes to not just for LinkedIn, but for all things, when you're doing
Mm-hmm.
your headshots and your branding for your business, make sure that it matches your business.
Yes.
Because, sometimes, I mean, when I go do a photo shoot, I'm going to do some fun ones and some different ones or whatever.
Right.
But the ones that are for the business are for the business. The ones that are for fun are for fun. And, not saying that
Mm-hmm.
you can't have a fun brand,
Exactly. Exactly.
but sometimes, people see that picture and it's like you're looking for them to take you seriously as a
Mm-hmm.
business owner. And if the picture doesn't reflect the brand that you're trying to carry, like if you're saying, okay, I want you to entrust me with, millions of dollars of funds,
And you up here
and
in some sweats
right, and you're in
with a
sweats, or it
selfie.
looks like a club photo, or like, then it's kind of like Are you
Not the club shot, not the club shot.
are you sure?
Yeah, and you can have fun with it. Like, and I tell people, like, wear what you would wear every day. Like,
Right.
I'm not usually suited and booted. I have corporate clients, but they also know. I mean, I put on the suit when it's appropriate, but like think about how people would experience you every day. That's how you want to be reflected in that headshot. Yeah, a photographer is definitely preferred. Like, listen, I will get my husband on a good day. I'm like, oh, this lighting is nice. Like, let's find a nice little backdrop and have a little photo shoot. My 9-year-old, he's my photographer. He knows how to do angles. He knows how to, okay, mom, you have to face the light. So, I mean, push comes to shove, just don't do it yourself. Just don't
Just make sure
have
that
options.
it's something that you would want to represent you if
Yeah.
because it's not always, it's mostly going to be people you don't know, and that's
Mm-hmm.
their first view of you. And so it can be, like you said, it can be fun, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm the pajamas coach. It can be fun. It's just make sure that it's of a standard that represents your company. um the pajamas, I know this may sound crazy to most people, but I got work pajamas and I got my casual pajamas. The pajamas I
I
wear to
mean,
work
it's
are different
levels.
than the ones I wear, around the house. So,
Right.
make sure that you're giving that image, because that is what people see first. And when you don't have that picture at all, then I personally think you like a serial killer. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just like, why
Yeah. It
why
looks
you
weird.
on here if you don't want me to know who you are?
Right. And then people are like, well, is it really a person? Is it a legitimate connection? So you want to show up just as yourself. And even, I mean, speaking of, having fun, even in your header image, like often in my header graphic, I'll show a picture of me training or teaching or working with a client. So actually show them better than you can tell them. Like, what is your zone of genius? Like, show a picture of you in your element.
I love
So
that.
think of every aspect of your profile as like prime real estate. Where can I showcase a little bit more of my brain, right? Because people really just are going to scan at first. We'll get down into keywords and stuff, but honestly, if your visuals are just kind of like blah, it's like, ugh, people don't know what to do with that.
I mean, it's like if you go
Yeah.
to a party and you see somebody and they look kind of drab, you're not running to go over there to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay.
It's true. It's true. And even another feature, I like, a lot of people don't know you can do this, but you can actually create an intro video on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
So, yeah, you have a chance to do like a 30-second kind of welcome video. Video content helps you make that connection a little bit faster. People are more likely to stop and like, hey, let me hear what she has to say. So you can use that for your pitch, your elevator pitch, or if you're hiring, if you're an entrepreneur, you're looking to hire or partner with someone, like what are you looking for in the moment? Like what is that thing that person needs to know and that you can capture in 30 seconds? So that's also another very effective feature that a lot of people don't even know about or take advantage of.
I did not know that, so that is a bonus.
Yes, yes. What else? Your headline, right? Just don't put you're the CEO. That's nice, but like that's the perfect opportunity to expound a little bit on like what you do, who do you help, how do you help them, like have fun with it. I put emojis in mine. I speak directly to my person. If you look at my profile, and that doesn't mean you don't that you can't change it, but based on what your current goals are, like you want your headline to embody that because you're more than just your title.
Okay.
I say that I'm a content buff. I love content and strategy. I've seen people put little personal tidbits about themselves in their headlines too.
And how long, like, typically is like a headline?
Headline, I think you have about up to 200 characters. I mean, you don't
Okay.
have to use all of it, but that's a good amount of real
That's
estate.
a good bit.
Yeah. So instead of putting, life coach, yeah,
Like,
definitely you can be more descriptive,
dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper. Think of it like, okay, speed dating, right? You have a few seconds on LinkedIn, probably less than 7 seconds, for that person to decide, okay, I'm going to keep scrolling and learn more about this person, or they just want to click away. So you need to grab them with that, with the visuals, with the video, your headline, keywords, right? You want to make sure that you're speaking to your brand soulmate, right? And by keywords, a lot of people think, oh, I just sprinkle around keywords on my profile. We're
I'm
not
laughing
saying,
because when I teach people about SEO, yeah, people just think just
yeah, it's
like
I'm gonna throw it
bam,
out
just
there.
sprinkle it on there like some seasoning. It
Seasoning.
needs to marinate. It needs to be blended and
Yeah.
become one with the meat. Okay.
It needs to be cohesive. It needs to make sense. You want to talk their language, think about what they're searching for. Like when they go to LinkedIn, I've had people say like, oh, I looked up personal branding consultant and you popped up, probably because that was on my profile, right? Or that's the thing that I'm talking about. So you want to be very intentional about that.
Okay.
Let's see. Anything else? Recommendations, endorsements. That's great for, because I know me with Amazon, I don't care what I'm buying, I'm going to scroll and read those reviews before I buy.
Right.
So it's the same way. Like you want to get those recommendations from clients, even if you're an entrepreneur and you used to have a 9 to 5, like ask your former colleagues or supervisors to speak to a certain skill set that you have, right? Because those reviews are, people are reading them. They're definitely reading.
And yeah, I think
Let's
that
see.
that's a really good point because we could say that we're the, best fill in the blank, but it's something about somebody
Mm-hmm.
else validating that thing about you that people are like, wait, like 12 people said that, like, she's the
Yeah.
best at, this. I need to reach out.
Now, listen, we know how we go to restaurants and have a bad experience. And we put them on blast. It's the same way when people have a great experience with you, right?
Right.
You want to share that. You want to let other people, because essentially, if you're giving a good experience to your clients, they're essentially becoming your brand ambassadors.
Yes.
So that's basically what the recommendation is. Um, I mean, those are my favorite sections for the profile. Of course, like I said, engagement is a whole nother. We might need to do a part 2 for engagement, for like getting into the game.
Look, right now
Like,
we just trying to get there. We just showing up and
yeah,
trying
I
to
don't want to throw
get
too much.
there.
I
We
don't
don't
want to
want
throw too much.
overwhelm. Right. But no, these are all great things. And I think, my biggest takeaway from what you said so far is, to make sure you're also bringing your personality to
Mm-hmm.
the stage because I think I'm just gonna speak for myself. I think one reason why people may be a little hesitant with LinkedIn is that it kind of feels like going on an interview and like your resume,
Yeah,
it kind of has that like that vibe to it, but even in interviewing, it really comes down to if you go in there and you're like, I am this person, I have this skill set, I did,
snooze
that's
bill.
just, you know, speaking as someone who has interviewed a lot of people, I don't remember you already.
It's like no one wants a robot. Like you can still now that doesn't mean going there and working and dancing. Like this is
No,
not
it's not
TikTok.
Comedy Central, but
It's not
but
Comedy
but
Central.
but don't be afraid to show that side of your personality because it really is what people connect to and remember because you have
Mm-hmm.
to think about it like, on LinkedIn or if you're in physical, interview, that person has looked at, X number of resumes or profiles. That person has looked at so many different things. We live in a world of sensory overload and
Oh, yes.
so you're just it's just content after content after content. What is going to make you stand out and seem a little bit different? Like still you can be professional and have flair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of times, here's a little bonus tip, right? And this is kind of get into the engagement piece, but that reminded me. A question that I ask people who either follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me, like I personally say, like, hey, thanks for the follow. Like, out of curiosity, was there anything in particular that stood out to you? So that's another bonus question that the people ask. That'll get the conversation going. But 9 times out of 10, it's like your headline just spoke to me, or I saw your graphics were really nice. Like people will tell you what stands out to them. So like, yes, I'm up there with my brand colors. I'm not suited and booted all the time, but I'm showing bits and pieces of who I am, and I'm speaking to them. So make sure you're showing up in that perfect kind of storm of like being yourself and also being a magnet for your person.
And what you just said just made me think of something just in the whole realm of business. So this is going to be my bonus for today. Use that same philosophy when you are working with your clients.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's good. Yep.
Because, you know, a big part of client attraction is getting into the psychology of your client. And your
Mm-hmm.
current clients will tell you the answers to the questions. They will tell you if you listen. A lot of times we're so, concerned about
The
if this
sale, you got
person
to
feels,
close.
the sale and closing, or if this
Yeah.
person feels negatively, like, we're like, oh, did they like it? Did they not? Like, we're so caught up in our head with other stuff that we're not
Mm-hmm.
listening, and they are telling you, oh, I went with you because your website was easy to work with, or I went with
Mm-hmm.
you because I just felt like everything was so, clean and crisp. It just made me feel comfortable. I went with you because I saw your reviews and, everybody said such glowing things about you. So they will tell you that answer.
No, the answers are all around you. Like I say that all the time. Listen, those conversations with your clients, you have intake forms, social media feeds, like your people will tell you. People like to give feedback. That's one thing there's no
Right.
shortage of feedback, good or bad. There's no shortage of it. So
Right.
use
But
that.
for some reason, we only hear the bad. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Mm-hmm.
always hear that good, and we don't always dissect that good, because in that is how you get more clients, because they're telling you, I really like this. And if you listen and the last 10 clients said I really like this, then you better make sure that you are capitalizing on that thing, because that is what your ideal client is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So always, no matter what the situation, have that kind of conversation of what attracted you.
Right. That is so, so good. It'll just take the guesswork out. Like, listen, speaking of ease, working with ease, I don't have time. I don't have time to figure out
Right.
and beat my head against the wall. Right? Just
Right. Or we
ask.
just keep trying different things, and then we move, one company that I'm, really familiar with, like right now, they're chasing what their competitor is doing, but they're
No,
not
no.
doing what they used to do really well anymore. And
Yeah.
so it's like, like, that's their lane. Let them be in that lane. That's not what we like you for. We like you for this.
Yeah. You got to
And
know what works for you and for your brand.
right.
Yeah.
And so now everybody is like, this sucks, and you're not hearing it. But it's because you're not listening to the actual customers who are yours.
All the bells and whistles. That the bells and whistles will get you every time if you let it. You cannot.
Right.
Nope. Yeah, you
You
can't chase
don't
that.
assume that that's what people are looking for. People
Mm-hmm.
come to you for a particular reason, and you want to make sure that, if they're coming to you, what is it, Raising Canes with they little special sauce. I don't like it, but um I really don't. My son loves it. But they have that sauce. If you go to Canes, you came
Uh-huh.
there for that sauce.
The sauce.
If
Yeah.
you go and they're like, oh, we got chicken and we don't have no sauce, okay, y'all could just close then. Like, know what your
Right.
sauce is.
Oh,
Know
that's
what
so
your
good.
secret sauce is. And if you don't know, start asking to make sure that when you're making changes and edits, that you're not throwing the sauce away. And that's what
Going rogue.
came from.
Yeah, throwing everything out the window.
Right.
Definitely agree. Agree.
So, what would you say is the biggest myth about LinkedIn?
Oh, biggest myth? It's a few myths about LinkedIn. So the first, I don't know, just one.
You don't have to
I,
just have
I
one
missed a
look.
couple. Okay.
I told you before, I'm not
It's
going
hard to
anywhere.
choose. It's hard to choose. I mean, a lot of things I hear, like, oh, LinkedIn is really, and I get it. Anything new is overwhelming. Like LinkedIn is really hard, and it's like it's not hard. It's I think people look at the platform in its totality, and yes, when you look at it that lens, and again, you're following what everyone else is doing, you're going to get turned off real quick. It is not as overwhelming as you might think. You have to go into it one step at a time. Like, okay, today I just want to work on my headline. Or today I'm not trying to make a billion connections. I just want to start engaging one person at a time. Right. So kind of this idea that you have to jump right in and do all the things, definitely a big myth. Yeah.
And I think that that's a myth with, technology in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like we just want to like go from 0 to 60 and
Yeah.
like they're people that like their whole life is like studying these things, and I don't know why we expect that we're just going to learn it all in one file swoop. Like just get started.
Just get started. Because honestly, and what's going to happen is you're going to be on info overload. And then
Mm,
you're what is it? Analysis paralysis is going to set
yes.
in. And you're just like, oh, I got to. Then you're just like, oh, screw it. So don't, yeah. You have to stay uber focused. A lot of people think it's a job hunting site. I mean, that's a feature of LinkedIn, but it's like, it's not just for people who are looking for a job, honey.
Yeah, I
If
think that
you,
that's a really good myth.
mm-hmm,
Like, because I think that when it first started, that's kind of, what it was used for primarily. And I mean, that's been years ago, and, things change, things evolve. And
yeah,
I think people like that's why they don't know what the password is, because that's the last time they went over there. They haven't
five
been
years ago.
actively looking for a job. So they like there's and you just don't think about it in that way. But like if I were to throw out a myth, especially from the creative space, most people I talk to, most of my clients say they want to connect with corporate clients. They want to garner corporate accounts.
Oh, honey, that is, oh, yeah. My,
I
my,
mean,
the bulk
are
of my
there any
corporate
corporate
clients,
accounts over there, Dion?
ma'am,
Are
if
there
you
any, a
are,
few, maybe a couple?
listen, don't let me pull out the stats. Hold on. Where are my stats? So think about it this way. There are over 810 million users on LinkedIn. Each connection that you make introduces you on average to 400 new people. That is like that's like OPP, other people's people. So
Right.
like, yes, the decision makers, the people who are, if you're looking to connect with, people in HR, the C-suite, DEI, employee resource groups, people who are planning their retreats and want you to come in and, pour into their, like, yes, absolutely. Listen, I've landed corporate clients on LinkedIn without even picking up a phone. Like, oh, this is what you do? Well, what are your rates? Okay, can you send us something over? Contract signed in a couple days. Like, it really is. LinkedIn is a plug and play personal branding networking machine. So if anyone thinks it's just for job hunters, no. If you're looking to hire, collaborate, connect with decision makers and influencers, get on stages and get corporate clients. Like, yes, LinkedIn is a gold mine. And I always tell people, like, why not? And it's not, and that's great. And this is not to knock like other platforms. Like I'm on other platforms too, but it serves what I've experienced, a very specific purpose. And it just like, it expedites whatever effort you're already doing because people are there. And also, and maybe I'm jumping ahead too, people on LinkedIn are very intentional and serious.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna get. I haven't got too many tire kickers on LinkedIn. It's usually, again, TikTok is great, Facebook is great, like Instagram, but LinkedIn is like, okay, I'm looking for an opportunity. So they're looking specifically for someone with your gifts and your talents. So yes, definitely a big myth. I had something else in mind. It's not just job hunting. Oh, that it's not. Another myth is that, oh, I'm just supposed to connect with people that I know. It's like, no, you have to network.
Right. You're trying to grow your network. You already know those people. They didn't buy nothing from you. It's okay.
Yeah, like why are we afraid of networking with strangers? Listen, when someone connects with me and I see we only have one person or even no people in common, I'm like, oh yes, because that means I'm going to tap into that group of 400
Right,
people
because they know a whole bunch of more people,
that you don't know.
new
Yeah,
people.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely an opportunity. I mean, I know I will raise my hand and say it's not something that I've utilized to its fullest, and working on. I'm doing the baby steps and working on getting, in that lane. But when you were saying before about like the different platforms, yeah, they all serve their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But, LinkedIn is, to me, it's like the business person's Facebook. Like they not in there
Oh,
playing,
that's good.
you
That's good.
know.
Write that down. I'll quote you on that. Do a social
It's
media
yours, girl.
graphic.
It's yours. But they're not, they're not in there like playing. They're in their business. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody goes to LinkedIn because they just wanted to chuckle,
Right.
you
And
know,
Kiki and be entertained.
to be entertained. They're going there to do business. So they're specifically there
Mm-hmm.
for that reason. When you're on a lot of these other platforms, you're competing with somebody just came to laugh. Somebody just came to see pictures of their grandchild. Somebody just came to, to show you their fake house. Like you're competing with all of these other things
Interests. Yeah,
to
yeah.
get people's attention, and you really don't know what thing that person came on there for. And but
Mm-hmm.
when they go on LinkedIn, they came there to do business.
They are serious. I connected with someone yesterday. He was like, "How soon can we hop on the call?" I was like, "Oh, I just sent you a."
Like,
It's
hey,
just,
okay, right now,
I
all
was
right, you
like,
ready?
"Oh,"
Okay.
or somebody will see your stuff, even if it's not that immediate need of like, okay, I'm ready to buy from you, but like your connection is going to know somebody, know somebody that needs your stuff, So just leveraging that has been, yeah. So talking about doing business, in your pajamas, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And you're not cutting through the noise.
exactly.
Like a
Right.
lot of people will say, because I know a lot of times too, people are on so many different platforms. And sometimes it's a matter of knowing what platform really serves you and what doesn't, depending on who your target
Exactly.
audience is. And, so it's like, that rush to get on to everything because, somebody just said this is the new, wave of the future, what have you. But if it's not serving what you serve,
Mm-hmm.
like I know that there's certain platforms that my customer is not on.
Right. And
So,
it depends on your goals too. Like
right,
if I know I want to get one of our sister coaches, Nicole, actually, I'm like, you need to be on someone, you need to be on CNN or something. Like go to Twitter, because that's great for sound bites.
right,
Like if that's what you want to do, like you have to understand like what your vision is and then what platform will help you get there. And yes, as we grow, the idea of being omnipresent is real, but like focus on one thing and like pimp it out.
Right,
Like
because it doesn't make sense to be
all over.
10% successful on 12 platforms.
And
Like
think about it. You got to keep up with all that. That's a
right.
lot. I don't have time for that.
And then everybody gets stressed out. I don't post as much as I should. I don't this. I know
Mhm.
you're creating this situation for yourself. Is look at what are your goals? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be talking to, and where are they? And again, 9 times out of 10, if I say who's your target audience, the response is going to be corporate. Now, I'm not going to get into how that's not a deep enough answer to my question, but
Yeah, that's not.
it's not. But that's a whole different podcast, just right there in and of itself. But if you are looking for corporate people,
On Facebook. Or they might be on Facebook, but they're not. They're going to break away from corporate on Facebook,
but they definitely on LinkedIn. Like
right?
they on there. Like
Right.
because they a corporation and that's where they are having conversations. So they on it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where all the professional conversations. And it's not to say that there aren't trends. I mean, there are trends on LinkedIn in sense of like hashtags and following the conversations, but like to get in the mix and become a thought leader, because once people like you chime in and they're looking at you like, oh, okay, kind of knows her stuff, and now they're going to follow you. So it's that engagement and the networking, making a connection, and then of course you're top of mind. So when they need something, it's like, oh yeah, let
Right. Right.
hit her up. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's another leg to networking. Cause I mean it's the same way networking works. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, like you said earlier, it's not necessarily going to be an instant, card swipe, but now you are top of mind for that person and the other people that they know. So
Exactly.
you're just extending your network both, as far as physical networking, there's only so much you can do in your, physical space. But once you start, getting into the digital networking, it's like boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom, boom, boom. Like, you again, you working with ease because you mean physical networking, you got to put clothes on.
Oh yeah, then there's that. And it's not just the wide, it's the depth now. Like I said, that one connection, you're like, boom, that's going to what am I trying to say? The ROI is a, is
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous. So
Right.
yeah, Team LinkedIn definitely.
Well, look, I already know.
You already know.
I already know. Okay, so you told us about the myths. What is one big thing you wish everyone knew about LinkedIn?
I don't know, I might have said this earlier, but like it literally is a plug and play machine for your brand. Like whether you have a web presence or not, whether you have a website, like there's so many built-in features. I could talk about how you can, write articles on LinkedIn. Like, I do have a blog, but I use LinkedIn articles and a newsletter with subscribers. So I actually have subscribers to my LinkedIn newsletter. So
Oh,
even if you don't have an email, which I definitely recommend an email list, but even if you don't have an email list, you can, and it's all free. Like, yes, there are levels to LinkedIn, but like at the most basic level, there's so many features that are just right there that like it's not just okay, copy paste my resume and then people gonna come to me. But like if you're just starting, like no matter where you are in your business, I was gonna say if you're just starting, but plug and play, definitely. And it's just gonna multiply your existing efforts. Um, there is, yes, a level of effort, but a lot of people are leaving these opportunities, like business clients, connecting with decision makers, speaking engagements, being asked to come and speak at conferences and, featured on podcast, like all of those opportunities are there. So like it's plug and play. And if you're not tapping into it at the most basic level, like you're definitely missing out.
and one thing I want to like expand on a little bit that you said was, about taking that time because I think a lot of
Mhm.
times what we do is because things are plug and play, we just like, we just phone it in, and then we wonder why it's not garnering response. It's like, oh, your website, you're this, you're that, your brand, it's just all phoned in and not thoughtful. Doing
Yes,
that work up front is like the ultimate, like, profits in pajamas move. Like, when you put that thought into it, it does so much heavy lifting for you
it
because
does.
it's attracting people to you. But
Hmm.
if you just like, it's me, I'm here, this my name, like, okay.
Definitely, it was your face. Like, yeah. You're definitely going to get out of it.
Because
You're
that's how
definitely
it feels. I'm sorry, that's how it feels. It's like,
like
you
it's not
know
going to fall in your lap. Like, don't get it
like, oh,
twisted. It's
great,
yeah,
tell me more. Like, I don't
right,
want no more about
right,
that. You can keep that.
right. It's definitely a thing where you're intentional, you're strategic. You can decide, okay, this is how much effort I'm going to put in. I have a checklist that I usually share with my clients, and it shows how you can make the most of LinkedIn in 20 minutes a day, like very low hanging fruit. Like there, because it's like any other platform. Like I'll get on LinkedIn and I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh shoot, it's been 30 minutes. I gotta get off here, you
Right.
know? So you do have to be like aware and go in with like strategy. But no, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. But even if you just optimize your profile, like that alone is going to, you start seeing like your engagement increase or views or connections. And then once you see that, you might say, okay, let me dip my toe in over here and actually join some groups on LinkedIn. Like it really will snowball if that's the direction you want to go in. But it is going to take some effort on the front. And even you mentioned earlier SEO. Even if you already have all those other things set up, your website, your email newsletter, by optimizing your profile, by getting in the game on LinkedIn, you're contributing to the SEO. So if someone were to Google you, that's only going to boost again what you're already doing. So it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even if, and I'm not recommending this, and Dion, please don't toss
Uh-oh.
daggers at me. But even
Uh-oh.
if you go on there and optimize your profile, and you forget the password again, at least you have something there that
Something.
is representative of you and your brand.
True.
You have a
True.
good showing that if somebody goes and pulls it up, they're not like they saw all of this, beautifulness over here, and then they was like, oh, this the back room where they hide the stuff when people come over to the house. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or they show up to your storefront and I don't know, you have a bakery now, but you had a butcher shop before, but then your butcher stuff is still up on your profile. Then they're confused because they're like,
Right.
well,
They're
wait,
like, wait, this is the same person.
right. So it's also it's gonna help you stay current. It's hilarious. It's yeah.
I mean, because like I've heard the advice before of, like, even if you're not on a platform, excuse me, to go ahead and get that name, just in case at some point you decide to get on the platform, you own the name. But don't just leave it sitting there looking abandoned. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Tumbleweeds,
make
crickets.
sure that it's still carrying your brand and
Yes.
representing your brand well, so that if somebody shows up there, they're not
And they
like,
will. It's
what
not even
happened?
if. People newsy. They're gonna look for you.
Oh, they
They're gonna
are
go on
nosy.
LinkedIn. They're gonna go on Google. They're gonna go on Facebook. They're gonna go everywhere and look for you. It's just a matter of when.
Right. So,
Yeah.
make sure you just have that presence there. And even if I mean, even after all that we have said, you just don't seem to understand or believe what we're saying. See what happens. See if you start getting some
Right.
notifications as you start to really put the effort in there. But please don't go over there if you just gonna just say my name is and I am a.
Yeah. You don't want to. Yeah.
let's
Don't do
let's
it halfway.
let's
Don't.
let's put some effort. Let's put our A+ work out there, and really I'm saying that because that's, you know, it's like, well, how many characters do I have to put? Like, not max, how many
Wow.
minimum? And you just put, like, let's not do that.
It'll
Let's
say entrepreneur. You're like, well, really? Is that all? That's your
Well,
effort?
what kind? Well, what you do? Well, what,
They just
and I'm not
they
gonna
just
call
there so
you
they
and
don't get
ask
fined.
you. I'm just gonna be thinking these things to myself as I scroll on to the
Mm-hmm.
next thing.
Right. Because now you haven't captured their attention. They're like, well, they're not bothering. So I'm not going to
Right.
bother to
Right. If
dig
you
deeper.
can't take the time, then I'm sure not gonna go and explore and be investigative reporter. Like, okay.
Yes. Yes. Don't be lazy, people.
No, no. And what this is the thing that I try to get across to people is if you are willing to put in work up front, you can be lazy on the back end because
Ask me how I know. Go to church. Where the
look,
collection plate? Where the collection plate?
look, you can be lazy on the back end because you put in the work up front. If you know, it
Uh,
baffles me how much people want to like skip over that branding, the marketing, the knowing your ideal client. Like people want to skip that part so bad. I don't understand why, because
mm-hmm.
that is the crux of working with ease. Because if you
Yeah.
figure that out, you don't have to work so hard. The people come looking for you.
And that's why you're working so hard 12 years into your business. It's not getting easier. I had two posts recently. The one talked about y'all, try something for 3 months and say it don't work. And people was like, oh, Dion, you stepping on my toes. I'm like, you cannot listen. You got to run the play, like give something some time. But we're in this day and age where people just want it's just microwave. You want it now.
Oh my
And
God. Like,
sometimes it's okay. That might be the case, but like you're seeing, and we talked about this before, Danny, like you're seeing people's success on social media, but you don't know what they
you wasn't there
went
when I was
through,
in the
all the
kitchen crying
years
at 3
of
o'clock in the
building.
morning. You wasn't
Listen,
there. You was
or
not
yeah,
there when
or
I was crying because Mickey Mouse looked like 3 circles, and my friend was like, Mickey Mouse is 3 circles. You wasn't there on that day.
listen, we're sitting here like, I'm really like, yeah, put in that work.
But
Gotta put in that work.
you're saying 3 months. People don't even be giving it the three
Oh my
months.
gosh.
Like if like that, what I have learned as a coach is when people say something, and this is usually casual conversations, it's not usually clients, it's usually, somebody on social media talking about they about to quit, they about to throw the whole business out the window and blah, 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 blah. And everybody, oh girl, keep at it. Everybody goes into encouragement mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coach. I got questions. Well, how long have you been in business? What are you doing? And what is not working? Oh, well, I
Gotta give it
started
time
the
to work.
business in November. No, who? No, hang up.
So,
Hang up.
and then you wonder why people are confused because first you were a systems coach. I'm going off tangent. First you're a systems coach, then you're a life coach, then you're a blogger, then you selling tea, weight loss tea. And then like,
I'm like, so
so nobody's
you
gonna buy from you because we don't
look,
know
you
what the heck
Walmart or what's
uh,
happening?
all over the place. And another thing I posted about was consistency. I realized, because we're doing taxes and stuff. I was like, wait a minute, Lord, I made how much last year? I was legit like, oh snap, I like doubled my revenue in 2022 from the previous year. But
Congratulations. Okay, I'm sorry. That's
thank
not the point.
you. I'm sorry. Listen, I did the math like 4 times. I was doing the formulas in the spreadsheet. like, but it's because I've been doing this for so. You have to be consistent. You can't be fickle. You can't want these
Like
like
one thing I know for
results
sure
and
is you are consistent in these streets. I look,
listen.
I have watched, I have followed, and I'm like, look, Dion gonna show up. She is going to show up. She's going to be on message, on brand, consistent. Like, I mean, every time I see, you reach a new height, I know you earn every bit of it because I see you working and I see you doing the stuff that you need to do to get to where you need to be. So I just want to pause for a moment on that because I'm telling you, you are so consistent with what you do and dedicated to what you do and clear on what you do.
Listen, thank you so much because child, and we know we don't talk about the other days of entrepreneurship. Sometimes
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no. They got look, y'all.
sometimes I'm like,
I
oh my
don't know what the
gosh.
people over there on Instagram telling y'all about business, but
Oh no, they make it seem like
look,
it's
they
just
over there just
beautiful.
making it seem
Mm-mm,
like it's
mm-mm.
everything, and I, it's
Yep,
gonna have its ups, it's gonna have its downs, it's gonna have its trials, it's gonna have its tribulations. But the thing that I hope that if you don't take anything away from this conversation is that you have to do the groundwork.
got to. Everything else
That
is easy
groundwork,
peasy after that, but you
right? That
gotta.
groundwork makes everything else fall into place. But it feels hard to you because you're doing a lot of work. I'm never going to tell somebody that they're not working hard, but
It
you
was
just
work.
doing work that don't make sense. You're doing, and you're working harder because you keep avoiding this branding piece. That
Mm-hmm.
that is the that's the key. That is the secret sauce.
Yeah, everybody wants to get to the fun stuff,
Right.
and
Okay.
then you got a pretty little storefront. And I walk inside, and y'all still doing construction, and I got stuff. I got beams falling on my head.
Right. I'm like,
You don't
okay.
have any foundation. You gotta work on the foundation.
Look, like,
Yeah,
okay, your logo cute though, girl.
pal. If another person say, and I'm like, you wonder why? And this again, another conversation. You
That's
wonder
all
why
right.
there's a
That's what we do
disconnect.
here. We got to give it to the people. So that's what we do. This is this real. This is real.
Your logo, your visuals are conveying one thing, but then your brand is this. But you didn't. You wanted to go do the fun stuff. You want to hit Fiverr,
Right.
pay for all the bells and whistles, and then now you're mad because
Well,
there's a
you
disconnect.
it's like if you okay, so let's say you're going I don't know if you watch what's the Abbott Elementary.
Mm, no, I don't watch it, but I'm familiar. I should watch it. I'm from Philly. I should watch
It's good, girl. You have to watch it. It's good. So on sorry if it's a spoiler alert, but it's not really. But on the last episode, it was, the Valentine episode, and the main character, the two, the girl and the guy that work at the school were talking, and she was helping him pick. He had picked a gift for his girlfriend, and she was
it.
like, "Oh, it's this." She was in love with the gift, right? And so she is dating his friend right now, but they both, the whole thing is they both like each other.
Okay.
So the friend comes with the what is it, Teflon? That's what the bag.
The bag. Uh-huh.
The friend comes with a Teflon bag for her. She looking in a bag thinking it's a gift bag because she's not into purses.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but when the other girl comes in and sees the friend with the bag, she gets all excited.
Excited.
They have different interests. So you can't get client A with client B bait.
Yep. Yep.
They so like when people say, like, I hate when I see posts, what do you think about my logo? Who's your target audience?
Oh my gosh, that's the other thing.
If I don't know who your target audience is, I can't tell you, I can't give valuable feedback about your logo. I can tell you if I like it, but if I'm not your target audience, it doesn't matter. So,
If it's making me feel a way that you don't want me to feel,
right.
yeah.
So I need to know what's the product, who's your target audience, what is your brand, overall brand, what is that like? So
Mm-hmm.
all of those things matter, and that's why when you come across a brand that you connect to, it's because all of those pieces were intentional. It's not by accident. It's
Yeah,
not like, oh, well, that's so interesting how your brand has calming colors. It's a
that was
work with ease.
intentional.
It's a work with ease brand, girl. Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
It does. Because that was intentional.
Yeah. Like when people are like, "Oh, you now look at your stuff. I feel like I can trust you." I'm like, that's the intent behind
That's
those colors,
right.
authority and trustworthiness. Like people don't understand. They think it's
Like
like
you just don't like
roll out
I
of
don't
bed.
understand how everybody logo is the same. I'm like, so
Oh Lord, not the logo, not the same logos. They all go into the same fiber person.
right. I'm like, so I'm glad that you like that aesthetic, but is that the same aesthetic that your client likes? And then also, do you wonder how it is that you can see a logo somewhere on a building and you instantly know that that's a restaurant, even if it doesn't say restaurant? It's because
Hmm.
there was thought put into that. But when you
Right.
take a logo that should have been for a restaurant and put it on like there's a gardening place around here. And every time I pass it, I'm like, oh, I want some Mexican food. Like it's something about the logo
Right.
that just gives me that vibe. And that's not what they sell, but I'm just like, you know what? That reminded me that your logo, every piece of your branding is supposed to be cohesive and bring people to a place, but you don't want to talk about that. You just like, oh, my favorite color is yellow, so I'ma just
And I get it because for a lot of us, and I'm learning to disassociate myself, not disassociate myself, but not be so attached to my business. Because like this is our baby, right? Like for I get it. You put a lot of work into it. Most of it's not like that's the other thing. But like you have to think about what it is you're trying to achieve, like out the gate. People don't want to do the work. Like, oh, it's too hard. I ask questions. Like you can't just be like, this is my target, client, age, gender, income. No, that's not going to work. You got to dig deeper. You have to become like a stalker, almost like a therapist,
yes,
right? Of
yes.
your person, and then your messaging has to also convey. Like you have to speak their language. Yeah, but it's a nice little. It takes time. It's a nice little dance of speak their language, but I still want to sound like me. Then I also look at people's um, social media sometimes, and I see that the visuals don't match up with the messaging because it's just
Because it's
like
not
no,
thought about. It's thought about from a personal perspective, but it's not thought about from the audience's perspective. So, you have to think about it from their perspective. So, like for instance, like if you go to, theater, like if you were to be on that stage, like the level at which they have to project and talk is not the level that you would talk in a regular conversation.
right, right,
They have to speak and project for the audience. So they're doing something that's slightly artificial to create something that's
mm-hmm.
very natural for the audience.
Right,
So you're kind of doing the same thing. It's like, it's not that you're not your authentic self, but you are being that self through the lens of the audience. They don't, they may not care about this thing that you care a whole lot about. They don't care.
right.
They like this other thing. And
And we
so
will hold on to that too, with like a
yeah,
dog with a bone. It's just like they don't
yes,
want that, sis.
right. Stop, like just stop it. We don't, no, thank you. Like just stop. We don't
Right.
want that. And so, and when people tell you that you can't let that hurt your feelings, you just it is like a discovery project. You're learning and you're constantly evolving, but it has to be based on the client, not you.
Yes.
You have to be able to make that detachment if you want to be successful. Now, if you just want to, you know, do you, I mean, and hey, have fun, but
Right. But you'll just be running in place and be in the same place 5 years
Right, because the
from
people
now.
already told you that's not what they want. Like they're saying it, you're just not
Mm-hmm.
listening. And it again, it goes back to that conversation with your client. Are they feeling heard? Because people only gonna say it so many times before they move on.
Right, right.
But they're saying it to you, I really like this thing. So, you know, 90% of my corporate clients in the balloon business will say, I like the fact that it was easy to go through your process because they're busy. They're trying to do something else. Most of them are not event people. They're, they work in a corporation and now the corporation is throwing an event and this is
Mm-hmm.
an extra added thing on their plate. So they're
Another
busy.
another task. You're right,
Right.
right.
They just want to hit check on the thing and feel confident about that this is going to go well. And they don't know me. They found me on a Google search and they want to feel good about that. So I spend a lot of time making sure that everything about that process makes them feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they've told me that they want.
Gotta listen to the people.
I don't know. I feel like we could do a whole series just about, like, I just want to shake people like, why don't you want to do this branding work? Like, just why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is it so?
This is hard. It's like having a tough conversation.
Yeah, but it's one tough
Doesn't feel
conversation.
good.
It's one tough conversation that's going to set you up
Mm-hmm.
for life. One conversation.
But it's not
Just had a,
sexy. It's not fun. It's not going to go viral right away. Nobody cares about
I understand, but it
that.
fills your bank account. Like,
That part.
just don't get it. Like just do it. Just take a moment, sit down
Mm-hmm.
and do that work because it really does set you up to work with ease and it sets you up for all these other things too. So then when you are sitting in front of that LinkedIn profile and they got those spaces, you're not looking overwhelmed at filling in those
Mm-hmm.
places.
Right. Gotta put the work in. That's it.
Like I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
That's okay. We stepped on some toes, but it was good medicine. People need to
No, they
people
look,
need to hear that.
they expect me to come for them toes, so I've accepted the challenge. I mean, because I want to see everybody win and succeed, and I feel like there is too
Mm-hmm.
much of the Instagram, just add water and you're gonna have a successful business out there. It's just
People out here with chia pet businesses.
like I call them ramen noodle businesses. You just add some water, it's gonna be a meal. Like it's not.
Like heat and serve. Heat and serve,
It
like at the
doesn't
market.
work that way. It just doesn't. People are leaving out some crucial
Mm-hmm.
points. And and most people who have been successful at what they do um will or are willing to help other people do that thing or let you know what they went through to get there. But you just got to ask those questions. Or if that person, is a coach, you invest in their, in their programs, but the information is there. But I mean, but you could just also just take pretty pictures on Instagram and just hope for the best. That could be a
Spray and pray.
strategy too.
Yeah, spray and pray method. Like, no, no, no.
Because even the Lord said get to work.
Uh-oh. In the church today. Okay.
But he did. He said get to work. He said, hey, look, you prayed, I put it in front of you, and then you just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
I put
Yep.
information in front of you. I put a pathway in front of you, and you
And
were
help.
like, that look hard. I'm gonna go over here.
But here's the thing, it don't have to be hard. That's why I understand.
It don't.
I'm going to invest. And that was one of, I know we talked about some of the questions, but like, that was like one of my points is like, it's help out here. Stop trying to figure it out.
That part. Look, I got too much
Listen,
going on. And
Going
I
over to
get distracted.
Google, yeah, going over to Google and YouTube University if you want to and see how far that's going to go. And get the help because you're just going to save yourself a whole lot of headache and hours and late nights and money. Because
And you
every
still don't
every day,
understand. And somebody could just break it down to you just as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're like, oh, okay.
and you off to the races,
And you
and
and
you
you
good.
and you can run. But you still sitting up here trying to carry the two and all of this stuff like that. And you didn't have to do all of that. They already did the math and showed they work. Just say here, swipe
Mm-hmm.
my card and tell me the answer.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not about that life no more. Like, yeah, I could do it. There's a level of interest there for me. Like, okay, in terms of how something works. So, like, for instance, our handyman, he comes over. I'm usually over his shoulder, not because I don't trust him, because I'm like, okay, I'm interested in how a thing works. But best believe there's a problem. I got him on speed dial. Like, you can come
Right. I
fix that.
mean, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I've learned
that's
something new. And
nice.
I'm an
Exactly.
eternal student,
Yeah,
but I ain't gonna
right.
do it. Like people, like like one time I was looking for a t-shirt and somebody was like, well, don't you have a Cricut? You could just that ain't what I asked you.
Right.
I said, who make t-shirts? Danielle does not. I already know that. So who does? Like I can and will. It's two different things.
Right. And that's the beauty of it is getting to decide what you need. It's like, all right, that's not for me right
Right.
now. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
So
That
much. So
was
much.
we done went all around the bend. That was a whole, but that was great. That
That's okay
was
though. That's what I love about this is that, of course we, touch on the topic and get that out there, but also
mm-hmm.
just, I know I have benefited from being able to listen to business women
Yeah.
and just what naturally comes out in the conversation is sometimes the biggest gems of the conversation. Like, oh wait, maybe I need to do different. Like there's something that I need to think about. Or, why am I so fearful of walking through this door? But I am gonna wrap up because I don't want to hold you too long. I am gonna do our wrap up questions.
Okay.
Okay, so my first question is tell me about your favorite pajamas.
Paper pajamas. So I have a good amount of pajamas. I'm more so into the loungewear, like the
Mm.
tank, like the rib tank, the drawstring pants, kind of like the jogger,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still like I was a tomboy growing up. So at the end of the day, I'll go to sleep in sweats and a t-shirt. Like that's the best. Like just
It's
give me
nothing better
something
than a hubby
roomy
t-shirt. I'm gonna just
style. He just be looking at me like, really? Yeah, it's not. It's like my mom. It's like I used to drink my mom's coffee, and she's looking at me funny, and I'm like, "But yours tastes better." I'm like, "Your shirt feels better than like."
right. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's mine now, but I mean, you had a good run.
yeah. Like, where's my sweatshirt? Oh, this one.
Mm.
Oh, it's in the hamper. I used it.
Like,
Yes.
it is mine. No, I totally agree with that. Like hubby shirts are like the best, the best, the best, the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so finish this sentence for me. My time freedom allows me to.
Time freedom allows me to rest, take care of myself, spend time with my family, and focus on other things that I'm interested
Love it.
in.
I love
It's
it.
good.
All right. What is the best advice you could give to anyone seeking the profits in pajamas lifestyle?
Yeah, definitely investing in the help now, right? Investing in the help, putting in the work early on, right? So getting the coach that you need, getting an assistant, system, a platform, whatever it is that's going to make it easier for you to show up later. Like it's important for me to be able to show up and be brilliant. That's it. It's like I just want to show up and be me. I'm not the accountant. I could do the numbers in my business, but I choose not to. I don't want to be, the systems person. Good, but I delegate that, right? You want to be able to show up and earn the money. That's it. I wish I had invested sooner, I was in business for 11 years before I did. And then I was like, oh my gosh, was this it? Was this all I had to do? So definitely like get the help, the network on the front end, and it will, yes, that's gonna save you a whole lot of frustration.
I love that about getting the help. And I feel the same way. It's like, what was I waiting on? Like, you think I'm not
Dude.
ready for it, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it's difficult to get ready without having the help. So I
Yeah.
think that is a really, really good tip.
It was just crazy. Like my first coach, shout out to Ty Goodwin. I remember being on a call with her and I was just like, I need to do this because I've been doing this for 11 years. And when you get the quote of how much that investment's going to be, you're like in hindsight, it wasn't a lot of money, but it might as well have been $1 million at the time. So I was like, you want me to pay how much? I tapped into my savings. I had my little business account. I let hubby know, like, I'm putting a little bit on this credit card here, and I piecemeal that thing together. And when I tell you I made that money back in less than 3 months, it was the best. And then, like, once you get a taste of that, it's like, oh, I'm not going back to that. Like,
Well,
why would I try to do?
I think every investment that I've made has paid off
Mm-hmm.
and paid off greatly. So I don't once you see that in real life, it changes how you view investing. Um, yeah, I just don't I feel like you're trying to level up, so you have to invest towards that. Like,
Had to. I saw a post recently in one of these Facebook groups. I'm not even gonna say the Facebook group. Anyway, the person said, "How much do y'all spend on these courses and classes? Because if it's not going to get me a degree, I'm not going to invest in it." I said, "Well, wait, what?"
I saw that. I saw that and I
I
was
did a
like,
whole
huh?
survey. I did a whole poll about that. I said, "So let me get this straight. Because you're not getting a piece of paper at the end, you don't want to invest." And people were co-signing, like, "Yeah, Google University is free. I can YouTube stuff." And I'm like, y'all think people out here just giving away? So you think you can be a orthopedic surgeon from looking on YouTube? Try it. You're only come on. I was like, I cannot
I
believe.
just it's so funny to me how hesitant people are about, and I know that they got people out there that's living foul, so I
Oh yeah.
get that, but that people are so hesitant about investing. But I this is how I look at it, and I'm gonna just put it in the simplest terms possible. Why would you not invest? Like, I know someone that has a course and it's like about 500, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not invest $500 in something that can get you into six figures?
Ciao. We're not gonna talk about the DMs. Like, oh, I want to make more money. Oh, that's a bit steep. And I'm like, honestly, I probably could be charging more looking at like my competitors, but I'm like, so let me get this straight. You don't want to pay money so you can make more money.
Right.
I
So,
don't
I
I
mean,
don't get
to be honest, I
it.
mean, just to be completely honest, and this is going to step on some toes, and I'm sorry, I'm going to just apologize in advance. But to be completely honest, if you are not, and I understand, everybody finances are not the same.
Right, right.
I'm not trying to come at
We're
it from
not
that
bashing.
standpoint.
We're not bashing
I'm
folks.
not bashing anybody. I'm not,
Right,
that's
right.
not my lane. But if you are not willing to invest a little to get exponentially more, you really not ready to be that boss.
Mm-hmm,
I'm just gonna put that out there. And I'm not saying that you'll never be ready. I'm just
mm-hmm.
saying that that's a mindset shift that you're going to have to make. You're only going to be able to succeed to a certain level
Yeah.
without investing, and that's not just in education and coaches. That's also, just even think about if you have a business. If you just starting out, you let's say you're baking, you just starting out, you got your KitchenAid and you're doing whatever. If you decide that you want to go full-fledged bakery, you got to invest. You're going to have to
Right.
invest in construction. You're going to have to invest in the industrial machines. You're going to have to invest to go to that next level. But I think people think I'm going to work hard enough at this level And then there's just an
Wow.
automatic, like grade school, you at the end of the year, you just graduate into the next grade. It
Hmm.
doesn't work that way. You have to do some serious self work
Yeah.
to
It's going
level
to,
up to that next
hmm
level, because this you ain't ready for that level.
yeah. And it's going to take, you're either going to spend it in time, effort, or money, and or. So I don't even know what else. And it's not to bash, like you said, it's not to bash people. Everyone knows their financial situation, but this concept of if it's not going to yield me a degree or even more money, and if you want to take money out of it, but like if you could learn a skill set, you could learn about a system or platform or a strategy. Like it's not always about a piece of paper, a certification. All those things are great. I am an advocate of education, but like there's so many different returns on your investment. So when I saw that, I was like, well, that's how people.
I mean, and the sad thing is that you got a lot of people that's degreed up, and you ain't got a return on that
Child.
investment.
And that was the other thing too. I'm like,
So
and
you
I'm not
gonna
one of those
pay, so you can
entrepreneurs.
pay somebody a couple of $1,000, but you decide you won't go like 30, 40, $50,000 in debt to get a
Or
new
6 figures in
degree
debt. Right.
that
And this is not to bash people who have a degree. I have two
no,
degrees.
no, no. It's not.
And
It's
I,
not
yeah,
about
yeah.
bashing it. It's the thought process behind it.
Hmm.
Because if you go and get a degree and you going, I'm about to get this degree. I'm about to go do this thing and blah 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 blah. Blah, that makes
That's not going
total
to yield.
sense. But
Yeah.
there are other ways to learn, grow, and develop outside of
Yes.
formal education, and some of that stuff is not inside formal education. Like you can learn how
Mhm.
to be, you can go and get a certification, you can go and learn how to be fill in the blank, you could go get your master's, your PhD, but a lot of times it's the self-work that is holding us back
You need
from
to, yeah.
where we need to be. I know you work with a lot of corporate climbers. It's getting them that confidence that
Yep. And
they
that's what
got the degree.
I told someone yesterday because she's like, oh, I feel like someone like I guess she's getting like overlooked for jobs and she's seeing people who are less qualified, sorry, get these jobs. And she's like, it's confidence. I'm not sure if I can do it. And then upon further discovery, like, yeah, she wants to go back for a degree. But I'm like, based on what I'm hearing, you already have what it takes. You just need to communicate that and show up with confidence. So, like, why not do get the help that you need so you can do the self work so that you can get it? Because 9 times out of 10, you already have what it takes, but they don't tell you in school. Just like my story, it's like get the degree and you want to get the job, but they don't tell you that like you don't know how to work it. You don't know how to
Right.
work
Right. There's a
all the
whole
things they don't teach
strategy
you to make the
behind that.
money. Right, it's a whole strategy behind it. Definitely, yeah. So we definitely have. I think there's some work to be done with that because I mean that entire. I was just like blown away by that conversation. Oh, this is really how people feel about
It's just,
investing in
yeah, it's
courses.
just, I think some of it is just trust. I don't know. I honestly, I think it's fear. Because self-work, ooh, that
Hmm.
scares people. That
It does
scares
scare people.
people. People will go and do everything else but that self-work. They don't want to do it. But
Hmm.
one thing I found is no matter what the prize is that you have decided that is the prize at the end of the road, if you don't do that self-work, you're going to still feel just how you feel with that prize in your hand. Whether it's
Yeah.
the degree, whether it's the dollar amount, whether it's the car, the whatever, no matter what it
Hmm.
is, you're going to still feel the same way unless you deal with your personal work,
Yeah.
because there's no thing that can make you happy.
Right. It's like all credentials, no courage.
Yeah,
You got all the
that's a good
credentials.
look. That's good right there. Yeah.
I mean, I work. I mean, I've worked with like women who are like doctors, and they still suffer from imposter syndrome. They don't know if
Mhm.
they don't feel they're good enough. they feel like they don't have a voice. And I'm like, well, what's the point of like pouring into all of that? And that's great if you don't have the other piece of the puzzle.
But I think it's something about how we are, like how we're reared to
Mm-hmm.
believe that to focus on the exterior,
Yes.
both, as far as like physical beauty, but also, it's like, okay, you look flawless every day, and you got, the fancy car, the designer handbag, you got all the degrees on the wall, the husband and the 2.5 kids, you got all of the things
Mm-hmm.
that are supposed to make you happy. And then, when you feel like I'm not enough, you go get more things.
Right.
And those things can be, material things, they could be degrees, they could be, you get more things, but
Yeah.
is
It's that high
something that,
achiever.
huh?
It's usually the high achievers, right?
Yes.
Like we're taught to just like, and I had to slow down. It was like I was pouring energy into like doing everything for my, kids' school, the school association, and my sorority, and doing stuff for church. And I was on the board for this community organization. It's like I need to deal with me first.
No, and it's like that validation starts to become currency.
Validation. Yes.
For
Yes.
people to say that you're the best, it just becomes currency. You're such a hard worker. Oh my God, I don't see how you could do it. Like it
And we
that
wear that with a badge,
like
like badge of
look,
honor.
just
Yeah.
just smiling with it, look, I did this. Like, and it's like, what, really, what does any of that
Or
mean?
enough. Yeah.
Because you're enough without any of those things. And
Mhm.
it's getting to, at whatever point the little girl in you was told different.
Girl, don't get me crying now. Wait a minute.
Now, we're not gonna cry, girl. We're not gonna cry.
I
But I'm just
mean,
saying, it's really getting to where did
mhm,
that little girl learn that I needed all this stuff
stuff.
to
Yep.
feel valid? Because you woke up valid. God made you valid. God decided to make you just like you are. That was a decision for you to be made just like
Yep.
you are. And the world perverted that somewhere. And it's like, how do
Yeah.
we get back to that person?
It's those seeds. I think about oh my God, so many examples. I feel like okay, my example of that toxic work environment, I took on those things that people were projecting onto me. That's one of my favorite quotes is by Lisa Nichols. She's like, other people's opinion of me is none of my business. Why do we feel like we have to internalize and take on everything? And I see it with my daughter, my 6 year old, love her to death. She can talk. I said, girl, you want to be an actress or an attorney or a speaker or something. Someone said to her or said to me in front of her, yeah, she talks a little much. Maybe next time you bring her. Said, don't tell my child. And of course, that following week was right before school. She's like, Mom, I have missed so and so this school year, so I need to learn how to be really quiet. I said, don't you ever let somebody tell you that you talk. And of
Right.
course, I had to let the person, I set the person straight. You know, they
But
picked the right parent that day. But like
right.
little Black girls, especially, like we take that stuff in,
No, you soak it in, and you spend your whole life
thinking something wrong.
believing that there's something wrong with you. And
Mm-hmm.
usually the thing that you're trying to suppress the most is the thing that makes you,
That's the
like,
thing that
that
you.
makes you so special.
Mm-hmm. And
And
yeah,
and it's just like, I think we've all been on that journey of like uncovering that, figuring it out, like, why do I feel this way? And what are the things, like, what's the truth? Where is the truth? And that's why I find it so important to encourage each other, remind each other of, ourselves, because there's so much that we have been taken in over
mm-hmm.
time that says otherwise.
And
And
that's the
it's
reason.
like,
Yeah,
it's like, no, that is not who you are. And, kind of back to where we started in the conversation of, you wouldn't have put me in this space if you didn't see something valuable in me, but at the same time, you're like, well, let me just, damage your self-esteem just a little bit. Like,
Right. It's so unfair. And that's the reason, that's how I got into coaching. I was just a consultant. It was very transactional. Like, oh, you want a resume? And then people would just be like, oh my gosh, Dion, this is good. Is this me? I'm like I'm looking at her credentials, like, wow, it's an honor for me to work with this person. But then she don't have the confidence. I had a person tell me, one of my clients, the reason why she didn't speak up in meetings is that when she was a little girl, her teacher told her, you might not want to raise your hand so much because then people don't like you. It was like, Dion, I've been at my job for 20 years. So for 20 years, I've been the quiet one in the room because I didn't want to come across like a know-it-all or like, and I'm like, no, like it's so deep. We could do a whole that it's so deep.
no, I
Sis.
feel like we're gonna have to come back and do a whole episode just about this, because because it really is the things that you
Mhm.
start to internalize. Like, I've always been kind of quiet because I feel like the way I think about things is like just very different. And so when I'm in a group of people and they're like talking, and I'm like, okay, like, because I'm like, I
Right.
don't see it like that. Like, I see something else. And I've always been like, I felt like I couldn't share that. I couldn't be that. And just even like more recently with coaching, like, I had one of my clients say to me, she's like, you have such a unique way of thinking. And that is like, that
And
is
that's your
your
it
gift.
factor. That's your secret sauce right there.
Right. She's like, that is your gift. She's like, she said, I could sit there and like have worked on something for like days, weeks, months. And then we have a session and I bring it up and you'll be like, so what about this, and this? And she'll be like, I feel like I never thought about it ever in life. And I'm just
Lean
like,
into the thing that makes you unique. You don't have to hide it.
no,
I
like,
didn't want people to know that I was a good writer because I didn't want to be in the spotlight. But guess what? That's my bread and butter, child.
and I've had that happen too. Like,
Yeah.
I was working in a job, and it, there was like a fair amount of like marketing and, that type of stuff going on. And I had this notebook and I had been writing stuff in this notebook, and it's like a very, male dominated kind of little, situation. And that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't my role there. And so I had just been writing this stuff in the notebook. Well, my boss found my notebook and he was like, we need to talk about this.
Mm.
And he's like, can I use this? Like, he's like, and I just kind of had kept that on the side because, the other thing that I was taught was to kind of suppress the fact that you're smart,
Yeah.
because it'll make other people feel uncomfortable.
Me and them in lights. Yeah. We're not doing that
Right.
no more.
We just have to let a lot of that go. But
Yes.
Dion, we're gonna be here till the street lights come on, like the children say. But I mean, that just speaks to, I love talking to you. I love your mind. I just love talking to, women about business. Like, that's just a joy. So if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best way to get in touch with you? And also, what do you have going on right now? Because I know you do a lot with LinkedIn and with
Mm-hmm.
branding. What do you have going on where people can get involved and get some of that help and stop trying to figure it out themselves? Because come on now,
Right.
it's
Get your way.
2023. We getting help. We getting help in 2023.
Yes. I have a lot going on, but let's see. So the most current thing is I have a monthly LinkedIn learning community. It's called
Okay.
the LinkedIn Lounge. This is where we show people, regardless of where they are in their journey, how to learn, love, and leverage LinkedIn. So if you are a beginner, if you're kind of sort of on LinkedIn, if you've got your password, if you think you know all there is to know about LinkedIn, this I was gonna say membership. It is a membership. This membership was meant to kind of grow with you, meet you where you are, and evolve with you as you're growing and as the platform is growing. So there are 3 different levels to the membership, depending on where you know, kind of fall in that. And it's a month-to-month membership. If someone wants to join for 2 months or 20 months, it's totally up to you. The great thing about it is that it's not a course where, hey, I'm just throwing stuff at you. It's literally breaking down. If you want to stay on the LinkedIn profile on your header for, you know, 5 months, you can, because I'm breaking it down into micro steps, every single aspect of LinkedIn. We also meet weekly. So
Okay.
it's a live Q&A. So if you are, you know, at a certain stage, you come on and you get laser coaching. So details on that are at workwithdion.com. And also I'm posting later on this year in November, brunching and branding. And that's my in-person, really a hands-on, intimate experience where you can get my feedback on your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to show people really how to optimize, build out their profiles basically in a day. So this is actually the third brunching and branding. The first one was kind of like, I just want to do it. And I just up and decided I'm going to host this thing in a few months. So it has really become like my signature, like in-person event. So this is where you come with your laptop, get to ask me questions. I give you my feedback on your profile. Of course, it's a brunch. So catered brunch, mimosas, door prizes, networking, all the things I like LinkedIn, love networking, I love brunch. And, you know, we talked about the headshots on LinkedIn. So also included with that, with your ticket, is 2 headshots by my photographer, who's amazing. So that's happening November 11th in Philly. Right now, tickets are on sale for $297. So we're still in the early bird phase. So if people want to come in, I mean, for me to work with someone one-on-one is easily a 4-figure investment just on their LinkedIn profile. So a lot of people are like, yes, Dion, brunching and branding, 6 hours, all the things. And I've got some things up my sleeve for that because I want to roll out the Philly red rug, if you will,
All
red
right.
carpet. Yeah. And those are like the 2 biggest things. But yeah, if anyone wants to connect with me, you can just search for me on LinkedIn or just go to workwithdion.com to learn more about, you know, my programs, you know, my membership. I also have VIP experiences where you can work with me like really on a more intimate basis. But yeah, this is my passion, is helping you really come out of the shadows, right? There's no point in being the best kept secret. We're not doing that in 2023. So
I absolutely love that. And we're gonna put all of the links in the bio, I mean in the notes for the show, so you can get
mhm.
in touch with Dion. Um get into the lounge. I mean, that is just a no-brainer to get that information that you need. And and a brunch, I mean, you had me at mimosas.
Oh
You
yeah, it's a whole vibe. We do so much
like it
laughing and dancing and partying. It's
I
not
mean,
even
and that's the beautiful thing I think too of this platform, is that you kind of get to know people. And so you had opportunity to get to know Dion and how, her vibe. So I mean, I don't understand why you don't want to just go ahead and have brunch and get your LinkedIn profile and have mimosas together. Like I don't understand, so make sure you are getting connected to her, following her, getting all of that advice, and also investing, because we can get the free advice. Me and Dion both know as coaches that that information that you get for free, it's good information, it's valuable information because you're getting it from experts. But that information you get behind that swipe,
it's a whole nother level. It's
it's a
like,
whole
oh,
nother level, because
it's
it,
like
it
VIP. You get into the club, you're like, all right, this is nice. And you go to the VIP section, you're like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
just the tip of the iceberg. This is not even like full on. So I really, really enjoyed having you, Dion. And I know I'll have you back because we had so many other topics that we had to put a pin in. But I
Mhm.
want to thank you for, coming on and sharing with the audience and helping us get our LinkedIn lives together.
So, Danny, this was great. I mean, we started talking about LinkedIn, but then, however the Lord leads, this
Look,
was
I
great.
just follow. I'm trying to be obedient. Our other sister coach said delayed obedience is still disobedience. So
Hmm.
I try to listen.
Yes.
But I want to thank you guys for listening. I hope that you got so many gems out of this episode. And I will see you guys in a future episode where we can talk about more things to bring work with ease to your life. And, like we said earlier, you still gonna have to put some work in, but we're just trying to help you make it a little bit easier. All right. See you guys next week. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDannyD.com.